Good day. So in the previous video I taught you how to solve for x when there is a square root. In this particular video I'm just going to be solving 12 exercises. So for each question you see, you pause the video and attempt it, and then you play the video and compare your answers, right? Let's compare the solutions. So we'll do that for all 12 exercises. So here goes the first one. And just before the first one, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. So here's the first one. Alright, so with the first question, here's the first question, so you can pause the video and attempt it. So the first one is quite easy, right? So this part is already isolated, so we don't need to isolate it. We can now square both sides. So let's square both sides. So when we square both sides, the square removes the square root, and we have this, right? Then we have to solve for x. We take this to the other side, it becomes that, then 16 minus 2, which is 14. Let's check if the solution is valid. Remember, always check when there's a square root. So in the left hand side we had this. I'm not saying you must write this. You just type in the calculator and check if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. If it is equal, then it means it is valid, right? If it is not equal, then it means there is no solution. So okay, fine. The original question was that, right? So if I plug in 14 plus 2 is 16, the square root of 16 is 4, so it's valid. Here is the second one. So we need to isolate this part, so let's take this negative 3 to the other side so that it becomes a positive 3. Then we'll be left with x minus 3, so it's isolated. So we square both sides, and then the square cancels the square root, so we have x minus 3 is equals to 9. We take this to the other side, we'll have 9 plus 3, so x will be equals to 12. Let's check if it's valid. If I put 12 minus 3 is 9, square root of 9 is 3, minus 3 is 0, so this is valid. So here's the third one. So this is already isolated, so we just square both sides. So the square will become, this will become 9, square will cancel square root, will become 9x. This becomes 4 times 3. And then this becomes 9x is equals to 12. We divide both sides by 9. We'll have 4 over 3. Let's check if it's valid. So if we substitute, our original question was 3 root x equals to 2 root 3, right? So if I put there, it will be, so if I type this, you can type in the calculator and see if it's equal to that. So square root of 4 is 2, right? So now it's going to be 2 over root 3. I'm just using my brain, but you can type this in the calculator. So this becomes 2 root 3. So it's the same as the right hand side, so this is valid. Alright, so here is another one. So now we need to have the square root remaining. So we have a fraction, so we just cross multiply both sides. So this is the same as over 1. So 1 times square root of x is square root of x. 2 times this stuff will become 3 times 2, because square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. So becomes this. So, or you can even use a calculator. So yeah, this becomes 6. And then now we have to square both sides. Then this becomes x is equals to 36. Let's check if this is valid. Square root of 36 is 6. So 6 divided by root 2. Alright, let me just split it. This is the same as 3 times 2 over root 2. So this becomes 3 root 2. It is the same as the right hand side, so this is valid. Alright, so now we have number 5, which is the square root of x squared plus 7 minus 4 equals to 0. So just don't forget to pause the video and attempt it. And then now here's the solution. So we take this to that side so that we can isolate this part, so that this can remain alone on one side of the equation. Then now when we square both sides, it becomes x squared plus 7 is equals to 16. Then you take this to the other side, so it becomes x squared is equals to 16 minus 7, which is 9. Then now we're solving for x, so when we square root both sides, we'll have x is equals to plus or minus 3. So in other words, x is equals to 3 or x is equals to negative 3. So let's see if both of them are valid. Let's check this one. If I substitute, it's going to become 3 squared, which is 9. 9 plus 7, which is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So this part works. If I check this one, if I substitute -3, -3 squared is 9. And then 9 plus 7 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. Minus 4 is 0. So both this works if you substitute them. The left hand side, you basically substitute and check if the left hand side is the same as the right hand side. So both of them are valid. Alright, so here's number 6. You can pause the video and you can attempt it. So this is already isolated, so we just square them. So the square cancels the square root, and we have x squared minus 4 is equals to 16. We take this to the other side. X squared is going to become 20. Yep, because when we square both sides, the square cancels the square root. We're left with this, right? And then now 4 squared is 16. So we take this, we'll have that. So now we'll have to square root both sides because we're solving for x to get rid of the square. So we have to square root both sides. So square root of 20 should be 2 root 5. If you type it in the calculator, it should be 2 root 5. Yeah, because I know if I square 2, it will be 4. If I square this, it will be 5. 4 times 5 is 20 to go back. Yeah, so let's check if that solution is valid. If I put that in the calculator, of course, I'll have 20. Then 20 minus 4 is 16. And then square root of 16 is 4. So the left will be equal to the right hand side. Oh, and by the way, when we square root it, there is 2 answers, right? There's plus and minus. So it means x is equals to 2 root 5 or x is equals to -2 root 5. But both of them will work if you test it. So yeah. So we have this stuff, right? This is number 7. So you can pause the video and attempt it. So here is the solution, right? So it's already isolated, so we just square both sides. So let's square both sides. The square cancels the square root, then we have x minus 2 is equals to this. The brackets double up. Of course, there is a shortcut, but for the sake of some people that don't know the shortcut, I'm just gonna take the long cut. So this becomes 16, this becomes minus 4x, this becomes minus 4x, and then this becomes x squared. And then now this becomes, let me just rearrange it, it becomes x squared minus 4 is minus 8, minus 8x plus 16. And then we know it's quadratic because we have got x squared and x, so we have to take everything to that side. I can also take everything to this side. It's literally up to you to choose there, right? So minus 8, then the x becomes a negative when we take it to this side. Then we have plus 16. When we take the 2 to this side, it becomes a positive 2. So then this becomes x squared minus 9x because when we have negative and negative, they add up, right? Because the signs are the same, so it gives you -9. And then 16 plus 2, which is 18. Now if I factorize this stuff, you can also use the quadratic formula, or you can pretend as though you factorized, still get full marks. Actually, there's a video where I deal with this stuff, right? So this becomes x, this becomes x. Alright, so two numbers that give you 18. So I know it's 6 and 3 because when you add them up, it gives you 9. So this becomes 6, or x is equals to 3. Let's check if both of them are valid. So if I take this 6 and I put it this side, so 6 minus 2 is 4, square root of 4 is 2, right? And then if I take this side, then it will be minus 2 on the right hand side. On the left hand side, because if you check the original question was okay, let me just erase this part. So the original question was, so this was the original question, right? So let's test and see. If I put 6 there, 6 minus 2 is 4, square root of 4 is 2. So I'll have 2 here. Then if I take this 6 and I put it there, 4 minus 6 is -2. So the left is not equal to the right. So this is not applicable. The 6 is not applicable, right? I took the 6 and I tested there. When we test it here, it gives me 2. When I plug it there, it gives me -2. So the left is not equal to the right. See, remember, you don't have to show them this stuff. All you have to do is to type in the calculator for both sides and see if they're equal. So since this one doesn't work, you just say not applicable. There's an extra mark for this. Let's check if this one works. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So we'll have 1 on the left hand side. 4 minus 1 is, wow, really? Oh, 4 minus 3 actually is 1. I thought both of them does not work, but there is a situation like that. So yes, this one is valid, right? So you get a mark for stating that this one is not applicable. Alright, so let's look at this stuff. You can pause the video and attempt it. So here is the solution. So we have to isolate this part, right? So we take this to the other side so that this part remains alone. So this becomes 3 plus x. Then we have to square both sides. The square cancels the square root. We have x plus 5 is equals to this. You double up, right, the bracket. Then this becomes 9 plus 3x plus 3x plus x squared. Then this becomes x plus 5. So let me just rearrange it. Let me take this x squared and put it in front here. 3x plus 3x is 6x. Let me put this 9 that side. So of course we know it's quadratic because of x squared and x, right? Or x squared and x. So we have to take everything to this side. So it becomes x squared plus 6x minus x plus 9 minus 5. So this becomes x squared plus 6x. Okay, fine. 6x minus x, of course, is 5x. 9 minus 5, which is 4. So if we factorize this, we'll have 1, 4, x, and then we'll have plus 1 plus 4. So x is equals to -1 or x is equals to -4. Let's check if both are valid or if one of them works, right? So let me just erase this part. Okay, so if I put -1 there, -1 plus 5 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2, right? And then if I put it the -1 there, so I have plus, it's going to become plus 1 because of negative and negative. So here it's going to become a positive 1. Here it's a 2 when I put there. So this becomes 3 and it's equals to the right hand side. So this one is valid. Then let's check this one. -4 plus 1 is 1. -4 plus 5 is actually 1. Square root of 1 is 1. Then if I put -4 there, it becomes a plus 4 because of the other negative. So it becomes 1 plus 4, which is 5. Wow, so this one is not applicable. So you just say not applicable. So if we have this stuff, we have to isolate this part, of course. So let's take this one to the other side so that it becomes x plus 1. Then this side becomes isolated, right? So it remains alone on one side of the equation. So now we can square both sides. Let's square them. So this will become 3x plus 13 is equals to, okay, let me take the long cut, but I really don't like the long cut. This becomes x squared plus x plus x plus 1. And then this remains the same, right? So it's quadratic, of course, so let's take everything to one side so that this becomes x squared plus, okay, this is already 2x, so let me just make it 2x. Then this, when it comes, that becomes minus 3x plus 1. Let's take this one, minus 13. So this becomes x squared minus x minus 12. Then, of course, let's factorize. So then this, I know it's 4 and 3, so then this becomes that. So x is equals to 4 or x is equals to -3. Let's test them. So let's test this stuff. So if I substitute 4 there, it's going to be 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 13, which is 25. So square root of 25 is 5, minus 1 is 4. So on the left hand side, I have 4. And then let's check. If I put this on my right hand side, I will have 4, right? Because x is just 4, so they will be equal. So this part is valid. Let's check -3. 3 times -3 is -9. -9 plus 13 is actually 4. Square root of 4 is 2, minus 1 is 1. Yeah, really, it's actually 1. Yeah, unless I got it wrong, I'm using my brain, right? Then let's take the if I take -3 and I put it there, it means on the left hand side I've got 1, on the right hand side I've got -3. So it's not valid. So it means this part is not applicable. There's an extra mark for this. This, when it comes out in the exam, it's 4 marks and above if one of them does not work. So if you forgot to test, it means you'll get 3 marks out of 4 and miss 1 because of not stating this. Here is the next one, so you can pause the video and attempt. So already when you see the square root, you already know that you will end up testing your answers. So we know that this has to be isolated, right? So this is a 5, right? Okay, let me just make sure it's neat there. If it happens that you couldn't see, then you can pause the video and obviously attempt from this part. So this is meant to be 5 minus x. Alright, so let's continue. So we have to isolate this part, so it means we have to take this to the other side so that it becomes a negative x. We take this one to the other side so it becomes a negative 1. And then we have 5 minus x. The order really doesn't matter. Even if you rearranged it and put negative 1 minus x, you still get the right answer. So we'll square both sides. So the square cancels the square root, and we have 5 minus x is equals to, we have minus x minus 1 minus x minus 1. So minus x times minus x, of course, is x squared, right? Negative times negative is positive, then x times x is x squared. So negative x times negative 1 is positive x. Negative 1 times negative x, positive x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is, of course, positive 1 there. So let's simplify this part. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. Then here we've got 5 minus x. So let's take this stuff to the other side. So it becomes x squared plus 2x. It was minus x, so now it becomes a positive x. Then we have plus 1. It was a positive 5, so it becomes a negative 5. So then this becomes x squared plus 3x minus 4. Right, so let's continue. Let's factorize. So it's gonna be 4 and 1, so minus plus. Yeah, that's what we have. So now it means x is equals to 4 or x is equals to negative 1. So let's check if they both work or what. Let's check it out. So if I put 4 there, 5 minus 4 is 1, right? So here it becomes a 1, so this side it becomes a plus 1. You can use the calculator, right? If I put 4 here, so we have 4. So we have 4 plus 1, which is 6. But it's not equal to the right hand side, which is 0, right? So it's definitely not equal to 0. So it means this is not applicable. What about this? If I put negative 1 there, 5 plus 1 is 6. The funny part is it's just not gonna work, right? It's not gonna work. Yeah. So it means both of them are not applicable. The only time I would get this wrong is if I miscalculated, right? The last part, because I'm using my brain there. You can use the calculator and see if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So the right hand side is already 0. We check if the left hand side is 0. Okay, so both of them are not applicable. So the answer is no solution, right? No solution. And there, it could be 6 marks, this stuff. Alright, so let's check the next one, right? Let's check the next one. So you can pause the video and attempt. So now this is already isolated, so we have to square both sides. The square cancels the square root, then we have x, actually 4 minus 3x. Then this becomes 4 minus 3x, 4 minus 3x. So this part becomes 16, this becomes minus 12x, this becomes minus 12x, and then this becomes plus 9x. And then this becomes, okay, before we deal with that, these are like terms, so wow, so what did I miss? That's a squared, right? So yes. Then minus 12 is minus 24x. So yeah. And then from here we have this stuff. Then let's just rearrange it. I know it's gonna be 9x squared. So minus 24x. Let me take this negative 3 to the other side, so it becomes positive. Then we have plus 16. Take this to the other side, becomes a negative. So this becomes 9x squared minus 24 plus 3, which should be negative 21x. And then this becomes 12. And from here, everything is divisible by 3, right? Yeah, divisible by 3 only. Yeah, divisible by 3. So if we divide this whole thing by 3, this equals to 0, right? If we divide by 3, we're gonna have 3x squared minus 7x plus 4. So let me just check something. Let's just see, this is 3 and this is 1. Let me just see something. Will it work? And yeah, no, it will. Let me just see something. This is gonna be 9 minus, nope, it's not gonna work. Okay, so okay, why did I put 1 and 3? I'm supposed to put 4 and 1 so that it gives you 4 at the end. So this is gonna be 3 plus 4, which is 7. Alright, there's methods of this. I have videos, right? I showed you how to pretend as though you factorized. Here I'm just using my brain. So yeah, this is definitely correct. So now it means Okay, of course there's zeros there. So 3x is equals to -4 or x is equals to -1. Then it means x is equals to -4/3 or x is equals to -1. Okay, I don't need to write it twice there. So let's test them. So okay, if I put -4/3, the 3's will cancel, so I'll have 4 plus 4, which is 8. Yeah, so I'll have 8. Yep, yeah, so I'll have 8. So square root of 8 is 2√2. And then this side, if I put that, so I will have 4 plus 4, which is 8. So the left will not be equal to the right, so this one is not applicable. And then let's check the right. So this is going to become 4 plus 3. Yeah, 4 plus 3, which is 7. So square root of 7, well, remains square root of 7. And then if I put the 4 plus 3 is 7. Yeah, so both of them are not applicable, right? So there is no solution as well here. So no solution. And here is the last one, finally. So we have to isolate this part, right? So you can pause the video and attempt, of course. And so we have to pause the video, we have to isolate that part. So let's take this to the other side. So it becomes the square root of x minus 1 is equals to x plus 4. Okay, it's minus x plus 4. You can also say 4 minus x. It's up to you. The order doesn't matter. So since it's isolated, we can then square both sides. So remember, when you square, don't forget to square the 2. So the 2, when you square it, becomes 4. Then the square cancels the square root. So you have x minus 1. Then we have, so this is minus x plus 4 minus x plus 4. So this becomes 4x minus 4. Then when you multiply here, it becomes x squared. Multiplies minus 4x. Multiply minus 4x. Then this becomes plus 16. So then this becomes minus 8x plus 16. 4x minus 4. Then we take everything to the other side because it's quadratic, of course. So 8x. So this was 4x. So it becomes a negative 4x. And then this, okay, this is 16. This was negative 4. So it becomes a positive 4. So 8x squared minus 8 minus 4 is minus 12x. Then this becomes 20. So I know 20 should be 4 and 5, but 4 and 5 does not give us 12. Okay, cool. So 10 and 2, yes, 10 and 2 gives us 12. Okay, sign of the middle number goes to the bigger number, and then for it to be a positive, it has to be negative times negative. So there we have it. So x is equals to 10, or okay, x is equals to 2. So let's test it. So if I put 10, we'll have 10 here. Then here 10 minus 1 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So I will have 10 plus 6, which is 16. And it's not equal to the right-hand side. Yep, not equal to the right-hand side. So this one is not applicable. Let's check this one. If x is 2, so 2 minus 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1 times 2 is 2. And then here I will have 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Equals the right hand side. So this one is a solution, right? So of course, so there we have it. We've come to the end of the video. So if you want, you can write NA. If you want, you can just say x is not equal to 10, right? It's up to you.